simply today with drawings, but if you were to have live footage of films of actual vaginas photographing, would you get a visit to the scene publication squad? Did you have any trouble with the police and the grounds of obscenity? I doubt it these days, but was there any trouble in that area?
It's definitely something that we've given thought to and worried about. With the current exhibition that we've got in, we made the sort of decision to go for illustrations. We had some wonderful illustrations donated to us. However, you'll notice that in our shop we don't have any kind of photographic art with real vaginas involved. And that is because we are a little bit concerned, really. We are concerned about the legal status of, we're a museum, so obviously we'd only really be displaying that, selling merchandise of that, to celebrate the anatomy, to educate about the anatomy. But there's a bit of legal grey area that we weren't sure about, so we just decided to err on the side of caution as to whether that would count as adult products and services.
Green tape that fill her head, snows more now than all the dead. Warm machine.
There's nothing more seen about the human body at all, both for its functioning point of view and from an aesthetic point of view. So in my opinion it shouldn't be what it is. There's nothing on here that isn't, say for example, in the Royal College of Anatomy and the Royal College of Gynecology.
Hot steel and skin that's cold, can't wave her out, she can't go home. Warm machine. She goes to bed when the work is through, she'll do it all, just change the tubes. Warm machine.
Caricature of the human body is accepted, for example, in terms of a statue in Italy or whatever, but not in anatomical reality. And it's a question I've asked myself all my life: why is this the case? Man is a primate, and we realise that we've got all the primeval potential that other animals have got, but we try to seclude that. But it's an ongoing thing. Desmond Morris was one person who opened up my eyes to that.
Cold, can't wave her out, she can't go home.
I just think that the vagina, like anything, the use of vagina, like is a form of expletive, and it always gets an erratic reaction, which is, after all, a very beautiful organ in the human body. All women have one, we all have reproductive systems. Any ideas why people get aggressive when you talk about sex or emotional sex?
Well, especially when it comes to vaginas and the gynecological anatomy, there's definitely more of a standard there. It's slightly more socially acceptable to say penis and talk about the penis as opposed to the vagina and the vulva. And you see this stigma throughout history. For example, if you read sort of old religious texts, there's a lot of kind of stigma rituals surrounding that. If you look even back to, say, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, where they discovered their shame, and throughout art history, you actually see quite a lot of, when the art is depicting a woman as sinful or bad, you'll see pubic hair there, where it isn't so much present. In art of, a sort of more innocent woman. So that sort of depiction, it's been there for a very long time. And what we do find, so we have an Instagram account.
Basically, I'm campaign against censorship, and I think we both have one thing in common. We're against censorship in general, whatever it means. Censorship stifles creativity, it stifles choice, and this museum is unique, I believe, because it's the only one of its kind in the world.
That's right, that's right. There's an online gallery known as the Vagina Museum in Germany, Austria. But we are the only physical premises dedicated to vaginas, vulvas and vagina anatomy. Most likely to get removed, even if they're illustrations of vulvas with larger inner lips. So the very sort of tidy ones where the inner lips are very small and tucked away. Instagram doesn't mind those so much as the depictions, and to be honest, most people, their vulva will have long labia which may extend outside. That's a normal thing, but in terms of service on social media platforms, that's deemed obscene and adult content.
I think we really have to work together to find a more sober, mature attitude towards sexuality. I think we take this. I mean, after all, children, think about children. I was raised a Catholic. I was given sex education at school at the age of 12. We learned about the birds and bees, so to speak. And many men, particularly, will be partial to visiting or even talking about the subject of the vagina, because of guilt surrounding its sexual and aesthetic connotations, connections. How do you feel about men visiting the vagina? How do you feel about us? Because many of the illnesses that we get, chlamydia, sexually orientated illnesses, some men get as well. So I think it's not polarised as just a women's problem. I think there are men as well. You don't mind men coming to...
Oh no, absolutely. We invite everyone of any gender to come and visit, because everybody stands something to learn. Whether you've got a vagina or not, we all need to learn about this, because it's something that we aren't taught about. It's something which we still don't talk openly about, and that's one of the reasons that we're here, is to encourage those conversations, whether you've got one or not. And so one of the reasons we invite men is, for example, you don't need to be a dinosaur to go and visit the Natural History Museum, and you don't need a vagina to come visit us here.
See here is anything but gratuitous. It's very, very educational. It's very, very open and accessible, and I think that's what's good about this place. On the subject of the evolution of the vagina, because historically all knowledge has probably been suppressed, I don't think that people have even thought about it. It would be interesting to have a section maybe to see how the vagina has evolved over the millennia in a similar way as you've got in the Natural History Museum, like the Cro-Magnons and then the Homo sapiens. It would be interesting, probably a very difficult area to approach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that is, one of our plan for the future is, while we're in this space, what we're planning on doing is holding 2 or 3 different temporary exhibitions in here. So this exhibition that you see here will be in the space until the end of March, and then in April we'll be launching a new exhibition. And this is so that we can focus on the themes, because obviously there's so much to say about vaginas and so much that's been suppressed. And so The reason that we went with this first exhibition, this Mythbusters, myth-busting exhibition, is because so many people are never taught about this, because so many people have never even started having these conversations. We really wanted to start with the basics, because quite a lot of people aren't even taught, you know, the difference between, say, a vagina and a vulva, and quite a lot of people don't know about the anatomy of the clitoris, for example. So we decided to focus on that, and then our next exhibitions we'll be looking at historical themes. We're going to be in future exhibitions perhaps looking at cultural, and yes, evolution is something we'd be very interested in.
Do you have any input from any lots of the Royal College of Gynecology or any medical input?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a brilliant advisory board which has various experts from all sorts of areas. So we've got gynecologists. We also have, for example, sex educators. We've got experts in art and culture. We really want a very diverse kind of group of people steering us.
That's right, yeah. I mean, even guilt from my say I wasn't brought up Catholic. There's a certain amount of guilt. There's people who say to me, Adam, why make a film about vaginas? And my answer will always be the same reason I'd make a film about, say, cancer. It's like me with testicular cancer. You can treat any cancer, you get it early enough, you know, so that would be my answer to that.
And a vast array of various books, all on the muff. It's such an expanding subject, as you can see.
You've been through some of the problems or the potential problems you've had around censorship in this area, and you said there may have been multifactorial issues. Please, I mean, I think we have evolved, we've progressed somewhere with the advent of naked, bike ride, and nudity. For that to happen, it has changed a little bit. Attitudes to lose it, but I think there's still some way to go. People always tend to bring children into the equation, and at the end of the day, I think there must be something for adults.
With no playback, but you listen to all your woes. Trade your old one for a new one. They just don't make them like they used to. No.
And how is business at the moment? Business going okay?
Yeah, we have had 70,000 visitors since we opened the exhibition in November, which has been
70,000?
brilliant. 70,000 so far and counting. So that's been really exciting. Yeah, do you know what? After you mentioned children, we do have quite a lot of children coming in with their parents, and they often take something away with it. They're really little ones, sometimes they get bored, but we've got some little woolly clitorises for them to play with while their parents have a look round. And so far we haven't had any complaints about it, not being suitable for children and so forth, which has been really positive, and in general the reception we've received has been really positive, but we do get a lot of people asking, going back to what we were talking about earlier, to see more like actual photographic depictions of vulva, and that is something that we are a bit concerned because we're a very small organisation. If we were to end up on the wrong side of the law, even on the wrong side of quite a malicious and spurious complaint, we don't have the resources to handle that. So we're being as careful as we can be, which is, ideally we'd love to be able to do more, but given the resources that we have to be as careful
you don't
as
want any
possible.
legal grief.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's like, in a way, there's an analogy there between getting an illness and legal. If you only know the problems of legality when you get arrested, when you have problems with the police yourself. So if you can keep that back, because but I do admire your endurance in doing this. And well, that's it. I mean, we covered aesthetics, we covered a lot, and we wish Zoe every future success with the museum. And thank you so much for this short interview. And we'll be back again. And as I say, you can join the video. I think it's £50 a year.
That's right, or £6 a month, and get all sorts of excellent benefits. So we've got lots of members exclusive events, such as private viewings and social evenings.
You're going to join, guys, aren't you? All going to join?
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And as I say, it's not a polarised issue, it's one that makes the men and women. Thank you so much, Zoe, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Okay.
After the Q6 inclined energy. Therefore, the time delay occurs only when the stop button is pressed during the record mode. The sole function of the capacitor C620 is to main charge, change and turn the K keys.